Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Nate. Welcome to Budget Auto. If you guys are new, this is my channel. Join me on all of my crazy car adventures. Today I'm coming to you guys from Costa Rica. That's right, it is 2:50 a.m., 2:50 in the morning. Brooklyn and I have enjoyed a lovely 10 days here in her relative's condo in Costa Rica, in an undisclosed location in Matapalo, Guanacaste, and it is time to go home. So I know that this is a video after 10 days, but I'm gonna talk to you guys today about what it is like to drive in Costa Rica as we leave today at 3 a.m. for San Jose, Costa Rica, to the airport to fly home to Salt Lake City. So we're gonna go ahead and go get the car. We rented a Toyota Yaris. So if you guys haven't checked out my other video, check out my other video of what it is like to drive a Toyota Yaris. That video is for you, Chris. And yeah, let's go get the car. First off, every good road trip starts with Coca-Cola, or what's left of it anyways. We're making one final check of the condo. Here we are, leaving the condo for the last time. Well, actually, I've got to go and turn off the light, so got the keys. And yeah, what a crazy vacation this has been. All right, so I just threw the trash away. I think I scared the neighbor's dog. All right, so I just started the Yaris, opening the trunk. This car is insane because it has only 20,000 kilometers on it. It had 19 something when we picked it up. It really is crazy because this poor car has been through so much. But the condo is kind of in a remote location, so it's on these really rough dirt roads. And I will tell you briefly that the GPS sent us down like some sort of cattle trail the first day we got here, and we're thinking that that was probably the only way into the condo because we'd been told it was down some really rough roads. So anyways, these roads are super nice compared to what this car has been through on this trip, but this gives you kind of an idea of the rough roads that we drive on. And so we'll stay on these roads for a few kilometers, but then we'll hop onto the main highway. So in Costa Rica, most of the roads are actually paved to get to like the major cities and the main towns. And then after that, it seems like most of the side roads, or the roads actually into their cities or towns, at least this town, because it's smaller, tend to be not paved or dirt, which I guess we're pretty used to being from a small town ourselves. So anyways, this is kind of the quality of the roads that you'll get in rural Costa Rica. So we prepaid for gas at our rental car place, and we have 238 kilometers of range, and according to the GPS we have 242 kilometers to drive. So yeah, something would make me so satisfied if this car were to sputter and die and run out of gas right as we pulled into the rental car place. Yet at the same time, we have a flight to catch. So we have been driving now for about 2.5 hours, and we're just kind of cruising. We've got like 60 kilometers before our next turn, so about an hour. I'm hoping things will pick up a little bit. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, everything's been super smooth. Because it is getting light now, we're finally getting into some traffic. So we have about 70 kilometers left to go in our journey, and I have 144 kilometers of range. I'm not exactly sure how that worked out because we did use just over a half a tank of gas getting to Matapalo from San Jose, and I had probably just about over half a tank of gas when we left Matapalo for San Jose. Driving in Costa Rica is actually really not that bad. You do get a little bit of in and out between traffic and whatnot. You get motorcycles, whizzing by you and things like that. But other than that, it's pretty comparable to driving in the US, as long as you read, I guess, Spanish road signs and stuff like that. But I will say that something that bugs me is that their speed limits are so slow. Of course, everything's in kilometers per hour and all of that, but I think their max speed limit that we've hit so far has been like 80 kilometers an hour, which, if you guys know, 100 kilometers an hour is 60 miles an hour. So I'm sure we're going about 50, 55, something like that. And that's everywhere. Right now we're on the interstate, and it is 80 kilometers an hour. Of course, the roads here in Costa Rica are very, very curvy. They're always taking tight turns and stuff like that. But for the most part, they've been super, super good. It's only when you get off in the small towns that the roads get a little bit more iffy because they're not paved at all. But for the most part, the major roads are paved, and they're paved quite well. If you guys look as we go around the curve here, we are on the interstate, so the road is a little more fixed up. The lines are very clearly painted. You'll notice back there that there are speed limit signs and road signs on the actual road themselves. So it is easy to drive, not having to take your eyes off the road really at any given moment. They also have road signs all over on the side of the road. And for the most part, I've noticed that people don't really follow the speed limits here. Right now we're in a 60 kilometer an hour zone, but I'll notice most cars do 10 to 20 kilometers an hour over the speed limit. And I've also noticed that the cops really don't pull anyone over. Fingers crossed I say that now, and we're probably going to get pulled over here in a minute. But for the most part, everyone seems pretty chill about driving. Now, it is a little stressful when you get in the city, weaving in and out, or people passing, but it seems like for the most part everyone here obeys as far as like stop signs and stuff are concerned. Coming into Caldera, and that's actually where Brooklyn and I ate our first day through here in Costa Rica. So this is also kind of our first look at the sea from San Jose, because we are heading more inland towards the actual city. So anyways, as we get closer and closer to the city, and as it actually gets closer and closer to work time, of course, there's a lot more traffic. Something else you'll notice about Costa Rica here is that there's not really any super large personal vehicles. Now, there are a lot of commercial trucks and vehicles used for transporting things, and then there are a lot of vans like that one and this one here used to transport tourists. But for the most part, I've noticed that in the city, everyone tends to drive some sort of car. And then as you get out of city limits, the bigger vehicles are four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive SUVs. The guy that kind of takes care of the condos and lives next to us actually drives a diesel Ford Ranger, so that was cool to see. I think something that most Americans don't realize is how common diesel vehicles are, especially in Latin American countries, but really all over the world. They use small diesel engines because they're just so dang efficient. Now remember that everything here is done in liters and kilometers, and if you figure it out, gas here in Costa Rica comes out to be close to $5 a gallon. And that's something we've noticed on our vacation as well, is that the prices just tend to be really comparable to California. Even on food, I think we spent maybe $90 on just groceries like staples to eat over 10 days. That it is somewhat expensive to live, apparently. I'm not sure what they make or what they get paid, but because gas is so expensive in these countries, it was the same way in Mexico. A lot of their vehicles tend to be really, really efficient. And of course, we rented a compact Yaris, which I am grateful for because we've only filled it up once, and I'm hoping to run it pretty darn close to empty since we prepaid to fill this whole tank. Now this Toyota Yaris has a 42-liter tank, or close to 11 gallons, which I know my buddy gets around 400 miles on a tank. So I'm not sure what we're getting to a tank. I know we've driven about 700 kilometers overall in our trip, and we've only filled it up once, or I think we've burned through one whole tank. I will say that driving at night in Costa Rica is somewhat scarier in the dark because there tends to be people just kind of walking wherever on the streets, and mostly because there's no real sidewalks here. Also, their towns just kind of come out or appear from the middle of the jungle, so it is very interesting because it's not like open sight view or distance to anything like we're used to in the United States, or especially in Wyoming and Idaho. It tends to be very humid. It was raining on the way up here in the dark, and it really kept fogging up our windows, which was kind of interesting because it's hotter outside than inside the car, and that's something that we're not really used to. Now, of course, we've got the AC running, so it's not so humid in here, but we had to drive quite a ways with our windows open just so our windshield wouldn't fog up. And kind of a reverse effect, because I know we're used to the winter time, so we usually turn on the heater to defrost our window, which we did, but it was really bringing the window back up to the outside temperature. So that is quite interesting. I think the whole time we've been here, it's been in the 90s. Something else to know between San Jose and Tamarindo, the quickest way is on toll roads, and we're actually coming into the toll right now. There are 2 of these, and they cost about $1 a piece. So it looks like they're all open, and we are going to have to pay. Do I think that any American could drive in Costa Rica? Absolutely. I don't think the roads are that bad. I don't think their signs are that hard to understand. Whether you speak Spanish or not, they're mostly the same signs, and they mostly have pictures on them. And the ones that don't, I think you can learn or pick up pretty darn quickly. I think the only thing that you really have to get used to is it's almost like driving in Yellowstone National Park or some tourist destination with a lot of start and stop traffic. You're also going to have to get used to passing people and weaving in and out somewhat of traffic itself. Not necessarily because there's lots of slow traffic. There are lots of slow trucks, but there tend to be people that walk on the side of the road as well. And in town, of course, lots of vehicles stopped on the side of the road. So if you can get used to that and you're not so afraid, as long as you pay attention, very, very close attention to things, and as long as you drive, I guess, defensively and smart, you should be absolutely fine driving in Costa Rica. It was an ambulance. Here's an example of a slow-moving truck. I guess we've got a couple of them, so we are a little backed up right now. But as long as you get used to start, stop, and passing people, and here they kind of pass whether it's double-lined or not. You just have to be really careful about it. And Costa Ricans are really nice, so they're not going to get mad if you are driving slower. But I definitely think anyone can drive in Costa Rica. It hasn't really been that bad or that terrible. We've done now about 6-7 hours of driving here, and I would say I was quite a little stressed out in the beginning, but now I'm not so bad at all. I feel pretty comfortable with it. Something crazy that I just saw is you have to do 40 kilometers an hour minimum on the street. Minimum. So they have a minimum speed limit here on this highway. That's just crazy to me. That's super cool though. And we're coming into another toll. This is our second and last, so here we go. Hola. Do $1. Tiene cambio para ello. Gracias. We just went through our second toll, and we're cruising. We're close. We're getting close. We're within 20 kilometers.
Next level.
Well, what a day it has been. I know you guys can't see me very well. It's dark and we're here at Park and Jet in Salt Lake City, Utah. Brooke and I have had a full day of traveling. Definitely a full day of traveling, leaving at 2:30 in the morning. So we did arrive here to Salt Lake City safe and sound. It is, I believe, 11:20 Mountain Standard Time. We've been traveling all day long. We've got another 2.5 hour drive back to Grace, Idaho, where we're going to be spending the weekend, and then we'll be on our way home. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button. We kind of went to the wrong Enterprise car rental place in San Jose, so then we had to hurry up over to the other rental place. We were trying to drive and navigate at the same time. It is a little bit crazy in San Jose, of course, because there are a lot of people, so I put the camera down and I haven't got it back out until now. Our flight from Orlando was delayed, and so of course we're here a little bit later than usual. We're going to get in the car and we're going to drive from Salt Lake here to Idaho. But as always, like this video if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hope you guys enjoyed learning what it is like to drive in Costa Rica, and I'll catch you in the next one.